Every project has stages. I'm going to call it the break it and then fix it stage, right? Hopefully today is a fix it stage. We've been tearing stuff apart here on our property for quite some time, and I need to clean some stuff up, get it fixed. I'm going to review the propane situation. I've got a lot more answers on that. Hopefully get all this filled in, make it look more presentable, and so we can drive around here. Let's get started. We're going to start by filling this propane trench. I'm telling you all about that. Then we're going to move inside for a real challenging project, trying to compact around the edges of the building where I dug out for insulation. I divided this soil here. When I pulled it out, I tried to get most of the rocks and put them on the far side of the trench, and most of the dirt on this side of the trench. So that's why I'm starting over here to fill in. And yeah, I should have moved the lift before I ever started, but I didn't. It's always tempting to fill in a trench as quickly as you can. I'm meaning as soon as you can after you dig it. But I'm finding that leaving them open for a little longer is really helping me. I'm able to remember things that I need to do before I get it filled in. Some of you, of course, have said I need multiple PVC pipes here and a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah, I probably still am forgetting something, but in this case, I was able to remember to put that metallic tape in around the propane line. I got the pea gravel in, and we redid some of the gas. We were able to do a leak test. Wow, I love this Turbo Johnny. I can run it on idle with the increased hydraulic flow. I can just have it idling here. I don't have to have it screaming. Have bigger cylinders on the loader. Again, I can get whatever load I want. In fact, this bucket is from the 2038R. Look at that. At idle. Finally spinning my wheels. That's an enormous pile of dirt for a 1025R.
And remember, that's 57 inches wide rather than the standard 53 from the 1025R bucket.
Are the upgrades necessary? No, but they sure do make the machine a lot more powerful.
This machine has all of the Hydros Plus options that I know of: the turbo, larger loader cylinders, faster hydraulic pump, and a huge hydraulic oil cooler to keep it all cool. And this task is illustrating the value. This is a small, relatively tight space, and it'd be hard to get a larger tractor in here. And as you've seen hundreds of times on this channel, I really like a subcompact tractor for its maneuverability.
Let's talk a little about the propane. I had some reservations. You could probably tell in the last video. I just wasn't comfortable with what I had done. I was comfortable with some of the calculations, but there was just aspects that I didn't understand. Being as gas, being that I was going to bury it, just so many things here. I felt like I better get some help. So I called the propane provider. I didn't really put them on camera. It was a young man that I just didn't want to put under that pressure. He is a viewer of the channel, and I appreciate that. He's been here before. So I did have the wrong regulators. I had kind of figured that out. So a couple of you had commented on the video with some very helpful comments. I appreciate that. It means a lot when we have truly professionals commenting and helping me out. So we had the wrong regulators. We've got the right ones on now. That one over there, of course, is a little twisted. That's just because I don't have a bracket on the inside to hold it. But they're brown and they look good on the shop. So now that means they're the right ones, right? He had several points for me. One was that I'm not allowed to run the pipe under the concrete at any more than 2 psi. So he added an extra regulator at the tank to lower the pressure to 2 psi. And yet with his calculations, our 3/4 inch line should still have plenty, actually almost triple, maybe triple the amount necessary for the 2 big devices that I'm gonna have. And then I'm not sure if this is a 2 psi regulator here or if this is a half psi regulator. I think it's another 2 psi regulator right there. And then we'll do the half psi regulation right at the appliance. But I'm not positive of that. That may be the half right there. In either case, I know it's done right. Notice he's used copper below the regulator instead of the black pipe that I'd used. He put the flare fittings on there. It's going to make it easy to take a regulator off if necessary. Now I had set up to do the 20 or 30 psi leak test, but since he was coming, he just did the regular 5 psi leak test that he always does. We did find one leak in the yellow connectors that we had. I don't know, we had probably 6 or 7 connections, one leak. And I think that was because we didn't cut off the factory end of that pipe and have a clean cut. Because that's what it took to fix it. I cut about 2 inches off the pipe and we reconnected it and leak fixed. So with all those changes, I'm comfortable to go forward filling in the trench. We'll have to do the rest of the propane work once we get the appliances, but I'm happy with where we are. Just make sure, Christy, I don't lose that steel. Just make sure I don't lose that metallic tape there, Christy.
Tim and I have both been working for a while to fill in the trenches, pump it up, because it's going to settle.
Yeah, Christy filled all this backside back here while I was working with the compactor inside. I'm very happy to see this all filled in. May not seem like much to you guys, but I can tell you what, having everything torn up all around the house is somewhat stressful for me, especially when I know that concrete's coming soon and I've still got a lot of stuff to do. With that thought in mind, let's go inside and see how I'm getting along with that compaction project.
Working on filling in the sides here where we dug it out with that 2-foot bucket. And we're having some trouble getting it compacted. It's dry in here, and a lot of those dirt clods came out huge. And the gumbo here, the clay that we have, it just gets rock hard. So what you're looking at there, none of those are rocks. Well, a few of them are. The white ones are. But the rest of that are just dirt clods that just haven't broken up. Well, they're not going to compact until they break up. I've ran the compactor over it, and I've tried to break them up with Vinny and the power rake a little bit. And the best thing that seems to be working, actually the combination of all these, is applying this water. We put water in this trench here for over an hour while we were at lunch, and that helped a lot. We came back from lunch and it had settled a couple inches. So I think we're on the right approach here. It's just going to take a good bit of time. What I'm doing right here is just trying to get some of these top clods wet so that I can do get the top ones here busted up with the compactor. But let's take a look down here at what I've been doing to get the initial moisture. Now in this section, I just set that hose right on the top of the ground, pointed down right beside it a good while ago, and just walked off and left it. And I still see no evidence of water, but there's water squirting in there. It's going somewhere. It'll eventually fill all this up and maybe melt some of those clods under there. Hopefully melt some of those clods. We get that good and full of moisture, then maybe we can come along with that compactor and pump some of that moisture and get those clods to finish breaking up. This is not optimal. If I was going to be perfect on this, I would have taken all of this dirt out and filled it with rock. That was going to cost me thousands. You know, I mean, rock, that number 11 rock is $700 per truckload, and 2 feet wide, 2.5 feet deep all the way around this shop would have been an enormous amount. And then I'd had to try to figure out what to do with all this rock and dirt mix here that I've got. So I think this is going to work. It's just going to take a little while. Good news is it's not so hot this afternoon. I've run a lot of water on this section, but it's the first time I've had a compactor on it. I think I'm gonna have to let it dry some, Christy. I think when it gets muddy, it won't go. So I had tried surface watering in this area right here. I'd put a good bit of water on the surface, and then I ran that compactor over it. I couldn't get the compactor to move. It's just too muddy right on top. So the compactor wouldn't move at all. So that's not the right answer. But then in this next section right up here is where I had stuck the hose right in the middle here, just stuck it down in there. And this was all about level. After having it there for, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour, 20 minutes probably. Ran that compactor through it, and you can see that right there where the water was, I'm able to mash that down a lot further. So that's what we got to do. If I don't do that, we'll have holes like that under the concrete.
I should explain a little better what's going on here for those that haven't watched the prior episodes. I wanted to put vertical insulation there. That's 2-inch insulation that goes 2 foot deep. But this was an existing 30-year-old driveway under this wall. It was very difficult to dig. We tried several techniques before we finally decided that we needed to use the excavator. So we have a trench here 2 foot wide all the way around the building. And that's what we've got to get compacted to have a good foundation for concrete. Here I'm using the power rake to push some rocks toward the wall to fill in that hole that I compacted just a few minutes ago. As much as I love the little Tomahawk Power compact compactor, this project needs Ham. So I was able to borrow Ham from my friend Stan again. I don't believe we've ever introduced you to Stan, but you are quite familiar with Ham. I can tell you right up front here that it's an articulated machine, and that doesn't work very well when trying to get really close to a wall. As it compacted the soil, it would vibrate itself closer to the wall all the time, and I got stuck twice, had to pull it sideways with the tractor. Unfortunately, we don't have any video of either time because, well, I employed my camera person to pull me out. But you can see how well this is working. I'm convinced now that getting this wet was the right answer. Now that all that soil is soaked and we put that vibrating action of ham on it, we're able to get that compacted very nicely. I think I'll be able to get that last inch or two next to the wall with the Tomahawk compactor. I'll try that in a minute. Meanwhile, I've got to figure out a way to get ham in there a little closer without getting stuck between those posts. And I think I'm getting there now. I'm going to drive the front wheel in, but keep the back wheel away from the posts. This should allow me some flexibility backing out when that front wheel decides to slide toward the wall. This technique takes some time, but it's working very well. I'll go around the entire shed, maybe 2 directions doing this. It may be a bit tedious, but it's worth it to me. I'm not sure if you can tell by the early portions of this episode, but I was a bit nervous about being able to get this compacted effectively. I'm going to a huge effort and expense on this building, and the last thing I want is the concrete to all crack and fall in. But with all these steps we've taken, I'm much more comfortable now. By the way, I would encourage you to take a look at tomahawk-power.com. There's a link in the description, and you can use code TTWT for a 5% discount.
I think I'm satisfied with this now. After running over it with ham and seeing it go down significantly, especially after multiple passes, then running back over it here with the little Tomahawk hand compactor, I'm pretty excited about what we've got here. The next stage on this project is going to be putting in some of these number 11s, the real small limestone. You can see a hint of it over here, and then we'll get the final leveling done. For the next episode on this project, I intend to have the Canamec laser owner come here on site, and we're going to do some upgrades to the actual laser blade system that I've got and do this final grading with all these number 11s. I think it's going to be good. I feel really good about that. Meanwhile, our next episode in line here is going to be answering some of your questions about hydraulics, both about the 6-port quick connector for the subcompact tractors and small compact tractors, as well as the rear summit kits, right? There's I've got several questions that I've got over and over on those, and I think several misconceptions. I'm going to take care of those in the next episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Stick around, and if you haven't seen our earlier episodes on the Dream Shot build, I encourage you to go check them out because it's hard for us to revisit and bring you all up to speed on every single episode. So there's a playlist there. We'll put a link of that in the description. Check it out. This has been a fun ride for us, and we've got a lot more coming from it in the future. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on Tractor Time with Tim.
Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be poured into your lap. For with the measure you use, it will be measured to you.